Sam Ryder is the songwriter and singer that worked on the song Fought and Lost for the third season of Ted Lasso. I'm Matt Noble of Gold Derby, and I wanted to start off by asking you, Sam, what's your favorite line in the song?
Oh, well, first of all, what's up, Matt? How's it going, mate? I
What's
hope you're
up?
all good. Thanks so much for having me, dude. Um, I'm going to have to think about that. I think so. Here on the same ground, when the tables have turned round, and you're like, and your tears fall as your world is crashing down. It evokes that feeling that we've all been through. There's a season for winning and losing in all of our lives, right? Like all of us know the sting of defeat and like the that just pure joy and elation with seeing something through and succeeding and being victorious to whatever metric you consider like victory to like be measured against, if that makes sense, you know. But I think as I've gotten like had a bit more experience within music, because music is something for sure that was never intended to be a competition, right? That's not why anyone plays music. But within the music industry of the modern day, it's very easy to slip into that mindset and that way of thinking. But so for me, Fought and Lost is a really important song to remind myself that this is not some game. This is like a matter of the heart and the soul, and making work and putting things out into the world that that bring you joy and comfort, in the hope that it finds someone else that can find similar joy and comfort in it. It's not about measuring up to any kind of metric. So yeah, the song, like it means a great deal to me in so many ways. I'm finding hard to express, but I
Yeah.
hope I'm not being too nonsensical.
No, that makes sense. Like, was there anything, you can be as specific or as vague as you like, but was there anything you were drawing on when working on this song?
Yeah, I mean, I had my moment in music. Like the doors kind of opened to me, like with this dream that I've had since I was a small kid, you know, to have a career in the music industry. That actually started happening in 2021.
Hmm.
So it's very recent. I've had that dream for 15 years and I never let go of it. And there's so many other people out there in the world that recognize the spark that's inside them of this thing that they love and they want to do, whether it's music or anything else. And so many of us never let go of it. We just carry on, defeat after defeat. It doesn't matter. It never stops us. It never overpowers us, and we are never overcame by that pain of failure and defeat. You just keep going because you love this thing. So for me, the song is drawing on those years and also giving thanks to those years, because I consider myself incredibly fortunate and privileged to be here now after so many years of knowing what it's like to fail, because I really have true gratitude for this position that I find myself in today, you know.
Mm. And that, like most good music does draw on experience and draw on life and draw on it's a way of expressing things that you feel and that you've gone through. I guess what's interesting about this song is it was also being written to fit within the context of a story for other characters and other people
Mhm.
and the world. Tell us, what was that like working on a piece of music that was going to be part of a larger story of characters that's been going on for 3 years?
Well, I'll tell you a secret. The
Yeah.
song, like
Yeah.
only a very small portion of the song that we knew, like we didn't know what the scene was. We
Yeah.
didn't know the storyline. We just knew like we had this concept of fought and lost. And in my mind, it was like potentially about this team losing a
Mm.
game. But of course, when you watch the episode,
Yeah.
it's not to do with that. And I think it's genius because we wrote it thinking, okay, as three songwriters that have loved music and have been sort of, I don't know, like loyal disciples to the journey of music for our entire lives, we know about failure and we know about sort of losing.
Mm.
And we also know about tenacity and belief and faith. And those things are so inherent within the show's themes. So we thought, okay, we can write to this. But then you write the song and then it's used in the scene and you watch it and you're sitting there thinking, I did not see that coming. So how gorgeous is that? Like everyone's got these different ways of I don't know, unpicking the meaning of something, even if you've written it yourself.
Yeah. And it's sort of, we've got we don't know if the show's ending or not. Like, we don't know exactly what the fate of the show is, but it definitely closes out a 3-season arc. And Ted makes this big decision at the end of the 3 seasons, spoiler alert, to move on. And really, this song plays at that sort of moment.
I love how late that spoiler alert was, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, and Darth Vader is Luke's father, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh, it's been out for a bit. I think people watching this interview probably see the Ted Lasso.
Yeah. I guess
but yes, apologies for anyone that have ruined the series for. But because I'm a big spoiler guy, so I feel horrible now, Sam. I feel horrible now, Sam, that I may have ruined the show for people.
Mate. There is no chance anyone is watching this that has not avidly watched every single episode. There's no chance.
I hope so.
And if they are, it's your own fault.
You've got some big fans out there, Sam. There might be some people that want to hear about you and your music writing process and things. Anyway, if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, check it out. It's at this real sort of pivotal moment for Ted as he's deciding on his future, and it sort of almost launches us into that season or potentially series final episode. What do you think was particularly special for you about where that song was placed?
Like I said, how it really took me by surprise. Like the scene that went with the music, it was so much more complex than a team losing, which is what kind of, like I said, we envisioned in our mind. Okay, it's going to be this gorgeous sort of journey, but not every journey ends with a victory. But it doesn't mean that people involved in that journey are not victorious. That was the sort of the story in my head before I'd seen the episode. But then it meant so much that they were so much smarter than that. And they put this music that had so much heart and soul in it to something that was equally heartfelt and important, and also incredibly relatable to a lot of people out in the world, a lot of families, a lot of parents, a lot of kids. I think I think that's magic.
And you did write this song with Tom Howe and Jamie Hartman. What was the collaboration like? What was it like collaborating with those guys?
Amazing. So the story of the song actually goes way back, into last year. Tom and Jason were at the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert, the one in London at Wembley Stadium, and I was singing with Queen. That's still a mad sentence now, to be honest. But amazing. And I met those guys after the show very briefly. But unbeknownst to me, they had this kind of song and concept of a song in mind for this particular episode, obviously way ahead of time. And they heard me sing, and incredibly grateful that they felt that my voice would be a good fit for this song, or at least the concept of this song, because the song didn't exist in its entirety. Yeah, it was just a figment of an idea. And so myself and Jamie Hartman then got into a studio, and I found out on the day, because Jamie is also friends with Tom, and they'd have been having this conversation in the months leading up to my appointment, essentially, with Jamie to go and write with him. And when I turned up to the studio, Jamie was like, so I've got this idea of a song today. The concept is fought and lost. Do you fancy writing it? There's a chance it could be in Ted Lasso. And I was like, 100%, let's write it. And the song just came out. And let me tell you as well, I hadn't seen any of Ted Lasso at this point. I hadn't watched a lot of TV over the last 2 years because I hadn't been home. I had 12 days off last year, so there's no time really to like watch TV. And every time I was traveling and taking flights, I was careful like to sleep instead of staying up and binge it, because I know what I'm like. I would have binged it and stuff like that, and I needed to take care of my voice and get some rest. So when I was with Jamie, I had no idea about the story, what Ted Lasso was about. I didn't know about the characters. I didn't know about the themes, anything. And I wrote the song with Jamie, and we sent it off, and then we heard back, thankfully, thank God that they loved it. And then I thought, okay, now I'm going to watch this show, because has been such a gorgeous experience. It's my favorite song I've ever had the honor of being a part of. And I don't want to miss this, significant moment in its life, So I watched the whole series, and I did binge it, I had to, because it was out soon. So I just rinsed it with my partner, and we fell in love. Honestly, it's my favorite thing I think I've ever seen. It feels like one of those shows that everyone should watch, because it will make you aware of your actions and hopefully inspire you to be a better person, and a more patient person, someone that understands that you have that hurt people. That's a lot of the themes I've got, particularly with Nate. And yeah, a lot of empathy would come from watching this show. And what better thing could you hope for some art that's put out in the world to have impactful change? And I don't know. I just think it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Is it sort of interesting watching the show, knowing that a bit of music I worked on is going to appear in the final season, a piece of my music is going to be part of this world and show I'm investing in.
I kept asking. I was like, so it's definitely in, right? Because I don't believe these things until I'm watching the show and I hear the intro and the piano. And even still, when I hear the intro, I'm like, I still won't believe it until I hear some singing in it, or that they don't fade it out or anything like that. But it was such a gracious moment. The team on the show were so what's the word? They were really, oh gosh. I'm sorry, I can't think of the right word. Sorry. Generous. They were really generous with the slot that they gave the song, and the length of time, and even the mix of it for people to hear the words, so that they could make the connection between the music and what they're seeing happening on the screen. So very grateful for that.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. And even when the intro is playing, I'm sure you're like, some songs have similar intros. I hope this goes into my one. You talked before about how music can so easily be seen as a competition when that's not really what it is at all. I imagine maybe the greatest crystallization of music as a competition could be the Eurovision Song Contest that you were a part of and did very well in. Came second. I think it's the best England had done since 1998 or something like that. The UK had done since 1998.
Yeah.
So what was that whole experience like? And I guess actually my real question is, you doing so well resulted in it being hosted in Liverpool this year, where Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso was then able to co-host. So sort of your performance in Eurovision led to a Ted Lasso connection. That's really cool.
Yeah, the whole thing feels really serendipitous. The universe is conspiring to bring these people together, after this song is made, because this stuff doesn't happen usually. It's coincidental, and I think I take those things as little nods from, I don't know, whatever's going on out there, that you're on your right path, and whether or not you sort of believe that, it brings me a lot of comfort to think that way and live that way. But yeah, it was really cool, man. And Eurovision, I know obviously at its heart it's a competition, it's a contest, but a lot of countries in Europe call it the Eurovision Song Festival, rather than Eurovision Song Contest. And I love that a lot better. Not that I'm against any kind of like competitive, things like whether it's sports or anything like that. I think it's great. People like love to feel impassioned and follow someone, and true support is supporting someone through defeat. So there has to be people that don't succeed and fail, because it makes those people a hell of a lot stronger. But Eurovision is something like, there's two parts of it. You've got this one half of the show, which is everyone from all over the place getting on stage for 3 minutes and singing their heads off with as much heart and courage as they can muster, looking down a camera lens that's going out to 200 million people. This is bonkers. And then the second half of the show is where you try and score those performances based on the songwriting. Now, we all know, if you have an actual conversation about this, you can't score songwriting because it's totally relative, based on taste, based on mood, based on what you're going through. The factors are numerous, and I always think it's only in the recent history of music that we've started treating it this way, pitting it against each other. Like, it's existed, this thing, for millennia, and it's been shared around campfires, in concert halls, and it's only in sort of the dawn of the gramophone and that it began like a sort of a battle and a shoulder barge between art and commerce. So I partake as a fan in Eurovision, but I have no interest into what the scoreboard says at the end, because some of my sort of peers in last year's Eurovision went on to do amazing things regardless of where they scored on the scoreboard. Music, like Jurassic Park, finds a way.
Yeah, and I think we at Gold Derby cover entertainment awards, and a big part of that is the competition between films and TV and music and all those sorts of things. And I think at its best, sort of awards or competition between art, one can give a snapshot into the bit of the time of that year, and like a window into what was resonating with people that particular year of film, TV, or cinema. And I think also just gets, hopefully, helpful discussions going about what makes great art and storytelling, and a celebration of those works and those pieces. And so really cool.
Ultimately, there needs to be a separation between the artists in the room that have made this stuff, need to leave their egos at the door, and any kind of expectation. You can't go there hoping or expecting to win something, because it won't make your life better if you do, and it doesn't really mean you've won anything. Just people a majority of people have chosen that your thing's better than another thing. But it's for other people. The scoring and the competition side of it is for onlookers of art, not the artists themselves. It's through you, not of you. And if you win, be incredibly gracious and don't believe that you have won. And just be incredibly grateful that you've got the time to say thank you on a podium.
And I imagine, Sam, that can be a challenge when you're in it, not to let when you're in whatever sort of entertainment industry is in, there are these awards and competitions and things like that.
Well, particularly music. Like when the age range of new artists is incredibly young, and a lot of them haven't had the life experience of failure, and also lived a life where they weren't known, where they weren't famous, where they could just walk down the street or do something. I feel incredibly grateful, like I said, to be later in my life where I'm experiencing this, because I have equipped myself, thanks to amazing people around me and friends and time, and family, to have the spiritual armament necessary to lose, and to lose with a smile on your face, because you haven't really lost, but I think there's a great deal of responsibility on the industry itself and the artists. I mean, I can think of a multitude of artists, big artists, that are having to cancel things because of the toll, mentally, So there is a massive discussion to be had about this stuff.
And it, like, yeah, ego is such a powerful, like, in some ways, like, it's a powerful drug that, like, you know, like that sort of, and yes, definitely in the industry, I can imagine there are all those pressures and things
Yeah,
like that. And really, Fought and Lost speaks to in a lot of
of
ways, in that
course.
it is not, it is in defeat and in sort of putting something out there that you find
Yeah,
success, not in what the scoreboard says at the end of the
yeah,
match.
yeah.
Sam, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's a lovely conversation. All the best of luck with the Emmy Awards
Thank
for
you very
Fought and
much. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lost.
But better to have fought and lost than never fought at
Yes,
all.
exactly. Yeah, no, do really well with that. And yeah, just thanks for chatting. People can go to goldderby.com to follow our awards coverage there. And I really appreciate your time.
Bless you, mate. And thanks so much to your listeners
No
and
worries.
subscribers. Yeah, peace.
Yeah.